comments out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. Day one of training camp for the Jacksonville Jaguars now in the books. We were down there at the Miller Electric Center. I had the opportunity to catch up with Jacksonville Jaguar defensive back Darnell Savage. We will play that conversation for you coming up in less than 15 minutes. Really enjoyed talking with Darnell Savage, a guy that's gone from the frozen tundra now to the beaches of Jacksonville, Florida. And it was interesting today. Doug Peterson met the media. We'll play you some of those comments here in a moment to kick off training camp. And just a very bizarre question was asked to Doug Peterson. It was, hey, Jack Lambert's birthday was yesterday. Who's the alpha male on the Jaguars? And quite frankly, a lot of us in that room were rolling our eyes at the question. But Doug Peterson gave us solid gold here on Hacker After Dark because he said, well, Darnell Savage, pound for pound, is probably that guy. And I was like, yes, because I knew I was talking to Darnell Savage after practice. So I'm going to ask Darnell Savage about that, getting a little praise from his head coach here in Jacksonville. So Darnell Savage comes up in less than 15 minutes. Also, my buddy John Shipley of Jaguars on SI. He will join us inside of 35 minutes from right now, as it's all Jaguar training camp all the time here in the 8 o'clock hour on Hacker After Dark. I got a lot of observations. I got a lot of thoughts. I want to hear from both Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson. So let's dive into it right now. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we give you a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
You know, OTAs are fun. Mini camp is fun. But now it gets really fun, right? Now it's no longer next year. When you refer to the 2024 NFL season, you no longer say, well, I hope the Jaguars are going to be good next year. Or I hope the Jaguars are going to do this or going to do that next year. No. It's now this year. Training camp has arrived. There's a preseason football game 1 week from tomorrow night in Canton, Ohio. The 2024 season is here. The Jacksonville Jaguars play their own preseason football game in just 17 days. And when you think about how the 2023 season ended, it was awful, right? Worst collapse in franchise history, late season collapse in franchise history. It was awful. But it's almost as if now a sigh of relief, and they're back at it. Time to wash the stink of the end of last year off and get focused on 2024. And that's the message we've heard a lot. And I was also happy for you, the fans. It was a packed house at the Miller Electric Center today. I imagine it will be like that for the remainder of the week and probably for the majority of training camp. You had to deal with that late season collapse. You had to deal with Calvin Ridley going to your hated rival. But you also saw the overwhelming success, in my opinion, this offseason was for Jacksonville. And now you get to start washing away the stench of that collapse from late last season. Because 2024 is here. This is a better roster. It's a more improved, deeper roster than what they had in 2023, if you want to know my thoughts on the matter. And I love the fact that practice started today at training camp, and you can get rid of what happened at the end of last year and move forward with Trevor Lawrence and his brand new contract, Joshua Hines-Allen and his brand new contract, Tyson Campbell and his brand new contract, Foye Oluokun and his brand new contract. There's a lot of positive things going on. And I'm happy now that we can begin to move forward and not constantly look back at the last 6 games of last year. But there is no doubt those last 6 games are motivating factors. Not only for Doug Peterson, and we'll get to his thoughts on it in a moment, but for the players, including Trevor Lawrence. In fact, Trevor today was asked something that we've talked about a lot here on Hacker After Dark. In 2022, the Jaguars snuck up on people, right? They were the underdog. They weren't the hunted. They were the hunter. And they had a success all the way to the division round of the playoffs. Last year, everybody just knew Jacksonville was going to win the AFC South. Everybody just knew that Trevor Lawrence was going to make that jump into a top 5 quarterback. Neither one of those things happened, obviously. So Trevor was asked today about not being the favorite like they were a year ago, going back to where they were 2 years ago, and maybe being a team once again that's being overlooked nationally.
It is fun kind of being the overlooked team, and you do kind of enjoy that, and you want to prove people wrong. But hopefully moving forward, there's a lot of people saying that we're good or we're great or whatever, saying good things, and that'll be another challenge of ignoring that, because that means we had a good year and we did what we were supposed to do. So obviously that's not where we're at coming into this season, but it doesn't really matter. It's just a different set of challenges. But yeah, I think it is nice kind of having that, getting overlooked a little bit.
Look, I know the fan base. I know you guys feel that way. I know you love the Duval versus all y'all. You guys love the national disrespect as motivation, and I get it. I'm right there with you. I love proving national people wrong. And the Jaguars have an opportunity. See, in 2022, no one even really talked about Jacksonville coming into that year. They weren't worthy of conversation. They had won 4 games in their previous 33 encounters. They were 4-29. In 2020 and 2021. So nobody was really doubting Jacksonville in 2022 because they were irrelevant. Nobody cared. And then people cared last year. They were the favorites coming into 2023, and obviously it did not work out in the end. I think people care now. They're not irrelevant like they were in 2022, but make no mistake about it, they are not the favorite in this division. There are a lot of people that are predicting them not to make the playoffs in the American Football Conference. So from that standpoint, it is similar to 2022. The Jaguars were looking to get on the map, to get recognized as being a credible team 2 years ago. Now here we are in 2024. They're looking to get back on that map and correct the wrongs of the 2023 season. Doug Peterson has made no bones about it. He has said this the entire offseason, going back to, I believe, when the conditioning program began in mid-April. Those last 6 games are motivation, not only for the coaches, but for the players as well.
I think you're going to hear it when you ask them, that it's motivation, it's fuel. It was a disappointing, way to our end of our season. As high it was for the first 11 games, it was just as low, the last 6. So, but again, it's all stuff we can learn from, right? And how it motivates guys, and how we can, lean on those experiences, coaches and players, and with the addition of the new guys, hopefully that helps us get through those times.
Thank you to our friends, Jaguars.com, for those sound bites. Again, Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence earlier down at the Miller Electric Center. We'll have that for the next month and obviously into the regular season. But tomorrow is a prime example. Tomorrow morning, Ryan Nielsen will meet the media. I believe Joshua Hines Allen is scheduled to talk. I'm going to have a one-on-one with Andrew Wingard tomorrow. So it's a process, man. We're at full bore now as we are into football season. And again, back to the point at the top, back to the big deal of the night, it is nice now to begin looking forward, moving the page. And I will tell you, at practice today, look, no pads yet, But there was some spirited competition. I thought the defense did pretty well in the 7-on-7 red zone. I was right there in the end zone. I'll tell you a guy that made a couple of fantastic plays. Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson is a guy that's been here for a couple of years, right? Everybody talks about Daniel Thomas and Andrew Wingard on special teams. Well, Caleb Johnson, the linebacker, number 57, has been a big part of those special teams as well. The Jaguars re-signed him this offseason. They obviously like what they have in the fourth-year linebacker out of Houston Baptist. And he had one pass breakup in the end zone. He had an interception as well. Good heavens, what was that? I got some kind of alert, Denmark. I'm not sure.
Yeah, 70-year-old.
Oh, that's not good. Well, hopefully everything works out there. But Caleb Johnson had a couple of fantastic plays today. That's what you're looking for in week number 1 of training camp. You're looking for guys that stick out. Look, we're going to talk so much about the superstars, and with good reason. But anything that catches your eye, anything that sticks out, and I thought Caleb Johnson stuck out today. I thought one of the best plays was Trevor Lawrence hitting Christian Kirk in the end zone for a touchdown in a 7-on-7. I thought that was great to see that connection again. Of course, we did not have that connection for the last 6 weeks last year, and it was great to see Kirk back out there getting after it. A lot of good competition, again, all week long. I don't know when the pads come on exactly. My guess would be either Saturday or next Monday, probably next Monday. So they'll just be in helmets for the first couple of days to get acclimated, and then the pads will come on soon enough here during training camp. One of the new guys on that Jaguar defense is defensive back Darnell Savage. He spent the first 5 years of his career in Green Bay. Remember, he had the pick 6 off of Dak Prescott in the playoffs last year. Darnell Savage signed here as an unrestricted free agent. It's the first time today I've had the chance to speak with him. Man, did I enjoy the conversation. I think you guys are going to like Darnell Savage, and you'll hear it next on a Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark with Dylan Denmark. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. We're glad you're with us. It's 1010XL, and it's 92.5 FM.
Life is a lot like football.
Life's this game of inches. So is football. The inches we need are everywhere around us. On this team, we fight for that inch.
1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. You know, I went down to the Jaguars today. First time I've seen a lot of my media brethren really since OTAs and minicamp about 6 weeks ago. And in the last 6 weeks, I'm down about 20 pounds, 80 pounds overall. I can't tell you how good it feels to hear my colleagues, folks in TV, print media, the guys I've known for years, guys and girls I've known for years. Hacker, you're looking great. Hacker, I'm so proud of you. I mean, that means something because there was a long time I didn't hear any of that when I was massively overweight. That's no longer the case thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. I'm down 80-plus pounds in just 5 months. 80-plus pounds. If it's time for you to lose weight like it was for me, do yourself a favor. Go to awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800. They can change your life because they've changed mine. It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's challenger, a paint color namer from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Irving Stapler.
Hi, Howie.
So the next round is word association. I'll say a word and you give me the first word you think of. Engagement ring.
Jeweler.
Gas station.
Fueler.
Aaron Burr.
Dueler?
Air conditioning.
Wow. Jeez. That's a toughie.
Come on, Irv. The sponsor's gonna kill me now.
Oh, Bueller.
That's right, Irv. If your AC is struggling through the summer heat, the first name you should think of for fast, friendly, 5-star service is Bueller Air and Plumbing. The name to know to make sure you are
Cool! Have a beer.
Cooler.
Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
Arrested? Got traffic tickets? DUI? License problems, gun charges, drug charges? If you've been charged with any crime, call me, criminal defense attorney Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
Hey folks, Curtis Dvorak here. Are you a golfer, pickleball player, or a concert lover? Well, if you said yes to any of those, join me for the first ever Patriot Games on Saturday, September 21st at the Yards in Ponte Vedra. All proceeds benefit Operation New Uniform, which is a transition training program for service members, veterans, and military spouses. For more information, visit onuvets.org. That's onuvets.org. Hope to see you there.
Any action?
Find more fish on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show.
That's a big redfish, guys.
With Captain Kevin Faber.
Oh, my gosh.
Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Thursday nights at 6.
On 1010XL AM.
Thinning or balding hair? Introducing Scalp Micropigmentation now at IHRS. SMP is a procedure for men and women, looks like your own growing hair, and corrects thinning areas. SMP is perfect for men and women who shave their head and want a full head of hair look. Call IHRS now, 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com today.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Former Jaguars corner and first-year head football coach at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows, K-12, Aaron Beasley here. Are you looking for an A-rated K-12 school prioritizing academics, arts, and athletics? Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows offers a rigorous curriculum to develop strong minds with an additional focus on growing good hearts. DCSB has been an A school for 8 years, and our tuition is free. Now enrolling. Apply at baymeadowscharter.org.
Expert Automotive is ready to keep you cool this summer. Right now, get an AC inspection or a system cooling checkup. Your choice for only $19.99. Their gift to you this summer is $50 off any service and a free tire rotation with any service. Their ASE certified technicians can keep your car cool without breaking the bank this summer. Call them at 374-3373 to get an appointment today. Expert Automotive. They never sell greed, only what you need.
Who were the last astronauts who walked on the moon over 50 years ago? The answer next.
Southern Oak Insurance knows that you want to save money on your homeowner's insurance. So why not try some old-fashioned common sense? Ask your Southern Oak agent about our roof replacement schedule. It will save you money.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Eugene Cernan and Harrison Schmidt were the final two astronauts who have walked on the moon.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hello, sports fans. Hicken here. Let's talk skin. Iron Beach's Dermatology are reminding you to wear your sunscreen. If you're an active parent hanging at the fields, in your boat to fish, or like to chill at the sandbar, wear sunscreen. But if you're the one that decided for years it's not cool, guess what? Cancer isn't cool either. So when grabbing the clubs for your tea time, gassing up the boat, or grabbing the chairs for your kids' games, make sure you bring the screen. Any concerns now? Give Beaches Dermatology a call online at beachesdermatology.com.
Wondering what you're going to do for dinner tonight? Southern Steer Butcher is a full-service butcher that offers take-and-bake side options that are oven-ready.
Now open in Ortega. For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It has begun.
Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yeah, Denmark, I know who that is. That goes back about, 22 years with Dempsey and me. I've been told that at some points in life, I've had an interesting sounding voice. Been told that once or twice, actually.
About 3 times.
2+ decades of doing this. Dempsey likes to do his impersonations of me. I had a nice visit with Mike today. I don't get to see Mike very often. Mike Dempsey was the guy that got me into sports radio, basically. I mean, I knew Mike before I knew anybody else back on 930, long time ago. So it was fun to see him out there earlier today at the Miller Electric Center. I did speak with Darnell Savage after practice, those comments coming up and that conversation coming up in less than 90 seconds. But as you know, from time to time here on Hacker After Dark, when we have the capability, we like to give back to you, the hard-working men and women listening to Hacker After Dark at 8:20 Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday night, July 24th in the year 2024. And if you, right now, want a pair of tickets to a future Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp baseball game, all you need to do is be caller number 4 at 641-1010, and Dylan Denmark will hook you up. A pair of tickets to a future Jumbo Shrimp game here in Jacksonville. Call right now, 641-1010, and Denmark will hook caller 4 up with those pair of Jumbo Shrimp tickets. Darnell Savage from Green Bay to Jacksonville and making his Hacker After Dark debut. I got a chance to speak with Darnell earlier today following training camp. First day, Jaguar training camp out of the Miller Electric Center. Ryan the Hacker Green out here with Jaguar defensive back Darnell Savage. Darnell, how'd camp go today?
Good. It's good to have all the guys back, see everybody. You know, camp is just an exciting time for everyone. You know, even the fans, just to have them at practice, you know what I'm saying? It's just, the energy is great, so it's always good.
Is it like the first day of school feel? Is that how you would relate it to?
Nah. I don't know. I wasn't never too excited for the first day of school. I ain't gonna lie to you, but yeah, it's definitely, the feeling is definitely special, you know, just, it's like a communion again. You come back together with all your friends, you know what I'm saying, your family, really, so it's good.
You know, you talk about you, Eric Armstead, Ronald Darby, bringing in a lot of veterans on this defense. Armstead comes from San Francisco. You come from Green Bay, winning cultures. What do you guys hope to provide to some of the young players on this defense coming from cultures like that?
Yeah, really just show them what we learned when we were, you know, at where we were at, you know, and just bring that same energy and that same vibe that, you know, we've experienced in these other places, you know. I think we have a special team here, and I think this is a special place, you know. I think there's a lot in store for us here in the future, so we're just all excited to be here and just come together and just get to work.
Being an unrestricted free agent, you had a lot of options. What was it about Jacksonville that led you here?
Obviously, beautiful, sunny Florida, you know. You can never, underestimate that. And then, you know, just the coaching staff, you know. I know I worked with Corey in the past over at Maryland. You know, talking to Coach Richard, Coach Nielsen, you know, all those guys. It's just, the group here is special. And that's from, you know, front office to coaches to players. So it's exciting times.
You know, you've been a young guy in the league, but you're now one of the veterans when you see Jarian Jones, you see DeAndre Prince, you see Antonio Johnson. What do you think about some of the young guys in that secondary?
You know, they're all eager, you know, and they're smart too, you know, just willing to listen, willing to learn. You know, sometimes I kind of forget I'm an older guy because I still feel relatively young. You know, there's still a whole bunch of stuff that I want to, you know, accomplish in this league. So, you know, just coming to work with them and just giving them the knowledge that I have and just being that resource for them, you know, whenever they need it. You know, that's my main goal.
A couple more for Jaguar defensive back Darnell Savage. Ryan Nielsen's scheme. He's new to Jacksonville. What can you tell the fans about Ryan Nielsen, the kind of coordinator he is, and what this defense is going to do this year?
Oh, man, fiery dude. Always ready to work. He's a guy that you love just playing for. You know what I'm saying? And what was the last part of the question? I'm sorry.
Just as far as what kind of defense you guys are going to be this year. He wants to be an attacking style defensive coordinator. Is that what you see from him?
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited. We're going to get after it. You know, we're going to have fun doing it. So it'll be great.
Wide receiver room you guys go up against every day. Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas. A lot of talent over there. What have you seen from those guys so far?
You know, it's good. It's kind of that iron sharpens iron kind of thing, you know. And normally that's that's how great teams are built. You know, the battles at practice. You know, if you're your toughest look at practice, and you go against each other every day, then when you get out there to the games on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays, whenever it is, you know, it becomes a little easier. So, you know, we just go out there and we compete every day to the fullest of our abilities, and that's what the special part about all the guys in that room and all the guys in our room. We're all competitors. You know, we're gonna get after it, and at the end of the day, we're gonna talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get on the same page. We're gonna see, you know, what'd you see here? You know, we're gonna learn from it. So this is good.
Let's wrap up talking about you a little bit. When Darnell Savage isn't on the football field, what are some of your hobbies?
I got 2 dogs. I kind of just like to go where the wind takes me a little bit, you know. I play the game a little bit here and there when I have time. I like to kick it with the guys. But, you know, it's so much to do here in Jacksonville, Florida, you know, coming from Green Bay. So it's easy to just get out and find something to get into. So it's good.
Let's end with that. I wasn't going to go there, but since you did, Green Bay to Jacksonville, we know about the passion in Green Bay, but it's Green Bay. You go from the frozen tundra to Jacksonville Beach. What has that been like for you?
It's been, honestly, it's been great. You know, just the sun, just the vibe, you know, all the people here, you know, just everything here is just it's on the up and ups, you know, and you know, I just can't wait to add to it.
Last question. Doug Peterson met the media earlier today. He was asked about the alpha males on the defensive side of the ball. He mentioned Foye Oluokun, and he mentioned Darnell Savage. What's your reaction to Coach giving you a little love like that?
Honestly, it's a mindset, you know, and it's not really a belief. It's a no. You know, I feel like you believe in something, there's still a little bit of doubt there. You know, it's a no, and you got to walk it and you got to talk it, you know, and I try to bring that every single day. So,
Darnell, welcome to Jacksonville.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
First day, Jaguars. There you go, Darnell Savage. We appreciate him joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. And as always, thank you to the Jaguars PR staff for helping us out here on Hacker After Dark. And I think Darnell Savage is a guy that's going to have a huge impact on that defense. Is he going to be a safety? Is he going to be a nickel? Is he going to be a little bit of both? We will see. But you think about that secondary, right? Cornerback, we know about Ronald Darby, who had an interception today, by the way. We know about Tyson Campbell, who just got extended. Jarian Jones, DeAndre Prince, the 2 rookies. You got other guys like Monteric Brown, Gregory Jr. going to be in the mix there. Maybe Eric Howlett, Christian Braswell. And then you got the guys like Darnell Savage, Antonio Johnson, Dewey Wingard, obviously Cisco, Daniel Thomas they re-signed. There are a lot of guys on that secondary rotation, both at safety and corner. And I think a lot of those guys will make the team with the new special teams rules, right? I mean, you have to have a sharp, iron special teams now with how that's going to affect the games with the new rules. And I cannot wait beginning next Thursday night at the Hall of Fame game to start seeing what that new kickoff thing is going to look like. It's going to be nothing like we've ever seen in the National Football League. But when you think about Savage and Johnson and Cisco and Wingard and Thomas with Campbell and Darby and Jones and Prince and all those guys, they got some talent. There's no question. There is some talent in that Jaguars secondary. Speaking of one of those guys, Darnell Savage today, we're scheduled to talk with Andrew Dewey Wingard tomorrow following training camp on Hacker After Dark, and we'll bring you that conversation on our Thursday night program. More Jaguar talk coming up. Obviously, that's what we're going to do a majority of the rest of this week and really the rest of this month. We will mix in a little college football as well. My buddy Matt Hayes, you hear him every day on XL Primetime. I want to talk about Florida with Matt Hayes. I want to talk about Florida State as well. Not necessarily what's going to happen on the field for the Seminoles in 2024, but what on earth is going on with them in the Atlantic Coast Conference? Because it's becoming a full-blown soap opera. Matt is one of the best. He's one of the most knowledgeable, and he's had some of the most information about that of really any college football guy going. And he's going to join us coming up at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. So we're absolutely jam-packed. We're glad you're with us. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night. A reminder as well, I caught up with Darnell Savage. I know Rick Ballou had Antonio Johnson. Mia O'Brien talked to Andre Cisco. Joe Cowart talked to Mitch Morse. Hayes Carline talked to Christian Kirk. I mean, we're out there every day getting 4 and 5 one-on-one interviews. You can catch all of those at the brand new 1010XL Jaguars on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, 1010XL Jaguars, hit that subscribe button, and all of our content from training camp and as we go along in the regular season will be right there for your viewing pleasure. 1010XL Jaguars on YouTube. More Jaguar talk coming up with my buddy John Shipley. He does a great job for the Jaguars on SI. He's got a terrific podcast as well. Let's talk training camp. Let's talk Tyson Campbell extension. And let's talk expectations as camp is now open. John Shipley with me next on a Wednesday night in Jacksonville. You got it right here on Hacker After Dark.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Florida State. Subscribe to 1010XL Seminoles YouTube channel, up-to-the-minute updates, analysis, and more. Plant the spear and subscribe to 1010XL Seminoles channel today.
Hey there, Weekend Warriors. It's Matt Hayes. Sick of that slice? Tired of those 3 putts? What if I told you your handicap isn't about your swing, it's about your weight? Why not take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with the Waco 180? We're talking 10 strokes off by August, getting your tour card by September, winning your first major, year 1. Think about it. Fame, fortune, and most important, winning $5 off your buddy because you, sir, are closest to the pin. Taking strokes off your game is just about 40 pounds away at Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken 180 does not guarantee an immediate 10 strokes off your score, receiving a tour card, or the ability to control the weather. Individual results may vary. Your newfound athleticism might cause jealousy among your foursome, leading to accusations of steroid use. Awaken is not responsible for defending your honor in the clubhouse. Awaken 180 cannot guarantee that your newfound golf prowess will lead to a sponsorship deal, but we can't not guarantee it either. Awaken 180 is not responsible for any dramatic fist pumps or unsolicited golf tips you give to strangers. Awaken 180 does not offer refunds for any lost wagers made on your improved golf game. Bet wisely, my friend. Strokes off your game by dropping pounds off your frame. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing will last 2 to 3 times longer than a shingle roof? If you want a better roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Schedule your free estimate today at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
When they were little, the other girls played with dolls.
Aww.
They played with footballs.
Who's that? Yes, it's us.
Helmets and heels.
From the First Coast Lighting Studios at 1010XL.
Weekdays noon to 2.
Some girls have all the fun.
What's a backflow preventer? In layman's terms, it's a device that stops water from flowing backward in your pipes, which is required to keep drinking water safe and free of any contamination. Here at Duck Duck Rooter, we offer everything you need to keep your water backflow prevention device up to date. From installation to routine testing, Duck Duck Rooter will make sure your drinking water is clean and safe from contamination. Contact us today to schedule your backflow testing, repair, or installation. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com.
Vegas, baby. This is Taylor Dahl from Helmets and Heels, and we're sending one lucky listener to Circa Resort and Casino this December. Win a free 3-night stay with $200 food and beverage credit, plus a daybed at Stadium Swim. With 6 temperature-controlled pools and a massive 143-foot screen at Circa, you'll huddle up with the Heels at the Overhang Bar for our pregame tailgates on Friday with drink specials and giveaways. For a chance to win this all-in package to Circa with Helmets and Heels, enter at 1010xl.com/Vegas.
And if you've already booked your flight to Vegas for the big game and are still searching for accommodations, Circa Resort and Casino has a special rate just for Jacksonville fans. Mia here, and for just $500, get a 3-night stay at Circa, $200 in food and beverage credit, plus a day bed at Stadium Swim. With 6 temperature-controlled pools and a massive screen, it's the world's largest hot tub party. The all-in package is only available till August 30th, so act now. Book and join the Heels in Vegas. Visit CircaLasVegas.com today. today.
This patriotic chant mirrors the enthusiastic efforts our American athletes have dedicated to their quest for a gold medal at this summer's Olympics in Paris. USAPark.net Airport Parking is your safe and secure parking for when you fly out of JIA. No matter where you're going, whether you're traveling to the Olympics to support our athletes or just visiting Grandma, remember to park at USAPark.net.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Prime Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 904-902-8222. 904-902-8222. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 904-902-8222.
RJ Saunders here, sports lovers. I recently took a tip from Frank Frangie when I needed to send flowers to my mother. Frank told me that Kuhn Flowers is the only florist he ever uses. So that's what I do now. I use Kuhn Flowers. Find them online at kuhnflowers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us as training camp has arrived for the Jacksonville Jaguars and every other team in the NFL. I think every team will be in by Friday. That includes the Jaguars, who earlier this week made some news with the re-signing of Tyson Campbell. There is a lot to get into with that. We welcome in my buddy John Shipley of Jaguars on SI. John's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. John, how you doing, man?
Hey, doing good. How you doing, my friend?
John, we're good. Thank you for the time. All right. Training camp has arrived. We'll get into the future in a moment. Let's take a look back at the Tyson Campbell re-signing. It happened on, I believe, Tuesday morning. A 4-year deal, $76 million is what it could be worth when everything is included. What do you make of Tyson Campbell getting re-signed here in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just another step in the Jaguars obviously trying to, pivot their franchise philosophy. Shad Khan said it last month when he said they can't get addicted to free agents. Trim Balky's kind of said it, several times now that, they want to lock up and, keep their core young guys. And whether, they're right or wrong in their evaluation sometimes, only time obviously can tell that. But it's obvious that they want to keep, a lot of their young players around. And Campbell's, it's been out there for a while now that, they've been talking to him, that they would hope something would get done. It's not surprising that this got done the eve before training camp. It felt like training camp was kind of when, contract talks kind of end for the season, because now everybody's just focused on getting ready, for week 1 and beyond. So not overly surprising to see it happen. Campbell's a player the Jaguars, really loved since he got there. The big thing for him has always just been staying healthy. When he's healthy, he has the, metrics and the physical traits, to put him up there with some of the top young cornerbacks in the NFL, which is obviously he dealt with a hamstring injury last year. He dealt with some injuries his rookie year. The year he stayed, the most healthy, 2022, was by far his best year. And that's, I think, for a reason.
I've called this, John, the most consequential offseason in Jaguar history. I mean, you think about the free agents and the draft class, obviously, but you go back to Foye Oluokun getting re-signed, Joshua Hines-Allen, Tyson Campbell, obviously Trevor Lawrence, and the stadium deal on top of everything else. I mean, as we embark on training camp here, my goodness, what a last 5 or 6 months it's been.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been a whirl. It's, I've been used to some past Jaguars off seasons where nothing happens in the off season. Other than that, the off season leading into 2023, other than Evan Ingram getting signed right before camp, that was more or less a complete snooze fest, compared to what we've seen this year. So it's definitely been, a lot of big moves made by the Jaguars. It's a very historic offseason, I think. whether, again, these moves pan out, only time will tell. But, the biggest, contract in franchise history, first to Josh Hines Allen, then the biggest in franchise history to Trevor Lawrence. And now Tyson Campbell is the highest paid defensive back in franchise history.
You catch John Shipley writing terrific Jaguar coverage. Jaguars on SI is where you find him. We'll also tell you about the podcast they have over there in just a little bit. All right, John, training camp. Let's start from a mile-high view, and then we'll branch out into individual stories. Fans will be out there starting this week. Obviously, it's a month-long grind. The pads probably won't come on till beginning of next week, more than likely. But for fans going out there this week, what should they look at? What are the 3 or 4 big storylines that you're looking at as camp starts?
Yeah, obviously, I think some of the young guys, some of the new faces, Brian Thomas Jr., him getting his rapport, Trevor Lawrence showing off his downfield speed, Jarian Jones as he fights, for a spot on the starting defense. There's no question, it seems like, that he's one of the 3 best corners, but whether that translates into him having a starting role in week 1, still has to be determined. How some of their other younger guys have developed, that's Antonio Johnson, Parker Washington, obviously Anton Harrison, and then, 2 guys who kind of got my line last year, and Tank Bigsby and Brendan Strange, so seeing, what kind of steps they're taking forward. And obviously, some of the new faces in free agency, your Darnell Savages, your Mitch Morses, your Gabe Davis, Eric Armstead when he comes off the PUP list. Jaguars were active in free agency this offseason, maybe the last time for a little bit. And then, finally, who's really leading the charge, for the Jaguars offense? Who is pushing the buttons? Is it going to be Doug Peterson? Is it going to be Press Taylor? We know who's pushing the buttons on defense. It's going to be the Ryan Nielsen show. He's going to take things completely over and have full autonomy on that side of the ball. But who's it going to be on offense? I think that's still left to be determined.
Fans were freaking out when Eric Armstead got put on PUP. That's what happens when a 30-plus-year-old defensive tackle tears his meniscus and has meniscus surgery. To me, John, look, I want to see Eric Armstead out at practice and in the preseason as much as anybody. But if you were to tell me, nope, we'll see him Sunday, September 8th at 1 o'clock in Miami, Florida, I'm okay with that as well. I don't know how much of that guy we need to see before the games actually count.
Yeah, no, I'm genuinely, when I saw some of the reactions to that, maybe not from the Jaguars fan, but, maybe, I saw a lot of 49ers fans obviously tweeting about it and his injuries. I'm like, what are we doing here at this point? Like, the guy played in the Super Bowl, the meniscus injury. He could have had the surgery a lot sooner. He, played through it. He was always expected. I know some people said that Doug Peterson said he'd be ready by the start of camp. If Eric Armstead is, and I'm just speaking hypothetically here, I have no insight on his timetable, but say Eric Armstead's ready a week from now and he missed 3 or 4 camp practices, to me, he's still more or less ready by the start of camp. So it's really just getting into, semantics there. Nothing, to be concerned about because the PUP list now, the NFL, it's nothing. It's a lot of guys who are expected to be back, by week 1 sooner or later. Now, the reserve PUP list, that's obviously different, and I don't blame fans for having some confusion about it because it is kind of ridiculous that there's 2 lists for, something that are vastly different things. Because if it was reserve PUP, he would be out for the year, but it's not. And, he'll obviously, in my opinion, be ready for week 1 and, sometime in camp.
Couple of more for John Shipley. Jaguars on SI is where you find his work. He's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, John, position battles are always a big topic going into training camp. And talking about starting position battles, I didn't think there really was one. But the more people I've talked to as of late, the more people that seem to think that there could be a legit battle between Cam Robinson and Walker Little at left tackle. What's your opinion there?
I don't think there's any reason not to have one because it's not like, you worry about potentially upsetting one of them. They're both in contract years. So, finding who really is the best left tackle, who are your best 5 offensive linemen, putting them out this year, I think it's paramount. I think Walker Little will be given, a chance to win a job, but I also expect Cam Robinson, to win it ultimately. I expect Cam Robinson to be the week 1 starting left tackle. Just the simple matter of the fact is, Cam Robinson has started week 1 every year of his career but 2, and those 2 times were one because he was coming off a torn ACL and wasn't ready for week 1, and the second time was because he was suspended. So I expect it to be Cam Robinson, but I do think Walker Little will have a chance. And, chances are at some point in the year, Walker Little will have to play and will have to be ready.
I think the fans, when they start making their way out of the Miller Electric Center, particularly when the pads come on, they're going to take a good look at the wide receivers. That is the most turnover on this roster. You go from Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones, Jamal Agnew, and Kirk's the only one left. In comes Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas, Devin Duvernay. Also, Doug Peterson has been very high in praising Parker Washington this offseason. John, the wide receivers now compared to the wide receivers 12 months ago. Compare and contrast the two groups.
I mean, the biggest thing is this group has more, I think you'd say, overall size and, downfield ability. Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis are both guys who can really fly, who, create big plays. Gabe Davis has been one of, the true big play receivers in the NFL over the last 2 or 3 seasons, whereas Brian Thomas was one of the best, deep threat wide receivers in college football last year. I think Devin Duvernay offers some similarities to Jamal Agnew in the sense that you can scheme things up for him, and he's, more likely to play special teams than he is receiver. But I do think he can maybe bring a little more to the table in the receiving aspect. So, I think overall, it's a more athletic group. It's a group that can win downfield more. You can maybe be a little more versatile with. Some of the differences are, in last year's group, Calvin Ridley and Zay Jones, they maybe would have been the 2 best route runners, out of, the 4 receivers included in this conversation now. So it's definitely going to be different, but I do think it's going to be different to the sense that it's a style that really fits Trevor Lawrence and his skill set.
You and I talked about this the last time I had you on, I think back during OTAs, the word competition, and I look at the 2 groups we just talked about, O-line, wide receiver. John, there's going to be guys cut in the end of August that Jaguar fans know, that Jaguar fans have seen play regular season games for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Those 2 positions in particular, O-line and wide receiver, particularly at the back end of those spots, there's going to be a lot of battles there for a very few number of roster spots.
Yeah, no, there absolutely will be. And I think that, it's going to be interesting to see how many the Jaguars really carry into a year. You remember last year they surprisingly carried 7 receivers. I think you can probably assume that, just looking at some of the, different roster spots, receiver, especially one of them, I'd say the top 5 are probably locked in, counting Parker Washington. So that is some names like Tim Jones and Elijah Cooks who are fighting for roster spots. I think defensively you're going to have, especially at cornerback, some guys that fans, Gregory Jr., Monteric Brown, I think are going to be fighting for spots. I think Christian Braswell's another guy, some veteran defensive linemen. I think that there's going to be a lot of spots that, further down the depth chart past the starters that are going to really be up for grabs. And that, to me, is where the intrigue really is for this year's training camp.
If Darnell Savage is a safety, again, we're not sure about that because the idea was for him to maybe play some nickel. We'll start finding that out this week when we see where he lines up. But let's assume Savage does play a little bit of safety. That's 5 safeties, right? Savage, Cisco, Daniel Thomas, who they re-signed, Dewey Wingard, and Antonio Johnson. Do all 5 guys make the team?
I think so. I think especially with the rule changes for kickoffs, you want more body types like that. So maybe they sacrifice some numbers at linebacker, maybe they sacrifice some numbers at cornerback. But I think it's safe to say those guys make it. And with Savage, like you said, potentially playing nickel, you could keep him in safety room, but he's really taking up a cornerback room. So that could be a way to kind of, manipulate their roster numbers a little bit.
And there are 6 corners that were all drafted in the last 3 years. All of those guys cannot make the team. We know Tyson Campbell, obviously, with the brand new payday, and Ronald Darby. Jarian Jones is locked in as a 3rd-round pick. The other 5, DeAndre Prince, Christian Braswell, Eric Hallett, Monteric Brown, Gregory Jr., there is not room for all of those draft picks at corner. So to me, like you said, that is going to be one of the more compelling battles of camp.
Yeah, absolutely. I think DeAndre Prince probably, unless he struggles during camp, I think he has a good shot. When teams use draft picks on these guys, they normally want to, at least give them a season under their belt and see how they develop going into their second camp. Between Brown, Jr., Braswell, I think it's going to be fascinating. I really do, because all guys, have something going for him. Jr. has shown that he can play inside, outside. Braswell is somebody who Jaguars coaches have said, for 2 off seasons in a row now, how impressed they are by him. He was dealing with injury issues as a rookie, so he didn't really play much. And then obviously Buster Brown is the one with starting experience, stepped in for Tyson Campbell and really held his own last year. So I think, there are definitely some questions there, but there's some upside to all 3 guys.
Final moments, John Shipley, Jaguars on SI, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, to me, all the money and all the acclaim, all the press, and with good reason, goes to Joshua Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. Eric Armstead as well. You and I have talked about him already in this conversation. But I look at a guy like Devon Hamilton, John, as maybe the glue of up front on that D-line. When Devon Hamilton was right in 2022, boy, that D-line was good. And when Devon Hamilton wasn't right due to injury, basically the entirety of last year, you could really tell. Your thoughts on Devon Hamilton, maybe a Roy Robertson-Harris, guys not named Allen, Walker, and Armstead along the front of that Jags D-line?
Yeah, no, I think Hamilton would absolutely be important. He obviously said in interviews this offseason how I believe he lost, somewhere in a range of 20 or so pounds when he was dealing with his back abscess, issue last year. Put that weight back on now. He looked, back to his old self, at least physically and athletically, during the offseason, on-field activities. So it'll be interesting to see how he looks in training camp. He was having a great training camp last year before that happened. And then, some of the other young guys, how guys – especially on the edge, in my opinion. Travis Gibson, I'm interested to see, if he can carve out a role potentially as, a rotational guy, maybe a number 3 edge rusher. You see Abdullah potentially as a situational guy. And then, maybe an underrated guy who might have a shot to make the team in second year, DJ Coleman, who, undrafted free agent, spent a year in the practice squad last year, but he has a lot of interesting athletic traits.
Yeah, you and I have talked for 2 years now. It's utterly amazing. 2 years, and they still have questions at edge rush behind Allen and Walker. We'll see about Gibson. You mentioned Abdullah, Coleman as well. A lot of veterans, again, were out there. The Jaguars chose not to do that, so we'll see if that is going to be an issue for the second consecutive season. Leave us with this. I want to get to your podcast as well. All right, guys that have caught your eye. You've been at every practice, OTA, minicamp, the entire offseason. For fans that are going to get their first look at the team in the coming days, maybe one guy on offense, one guy on defense, under the radar, young guy, whatever you want to describe it, a guy that people need to take notice of when they're at the Miller Electric Center.
Yeah, I think honestly it has to be Devin Lloyd, seeing, what kind of role he plays in Ryan Nielsen's defense, what kind of step he takes forward in year 3. He looked a good bit bigger during the offseason than he has in the previous 2 seasons. So just seeing where Devin Lloyd's at, I think if you're talking about a guy who can truly change the team's season if he breaks out, I think he's the one.
Anybody on offense that caught your eye, maybe under the radar guy?
Yeah, Parker Washington's been talked about so much. Our offense is tougher just because we know, who some of the guys supposed to play are. I will say Keelan Robinson is somebody who the Jaguars have seemed higher on in terms of what he can bring on offense than maybe people expect. I know he's kind of been talked about exclusively as a kick returner, but, they think he can do some other things as well.
People were talking about Cephas, and with good reason, the undrafted wide receiver out of Texas San Antonio. There's another undrafted player. Was it Brevin Easton that's caught some people's eye? Do you think there's a battle there between those two potentially?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd throw Brevin Easton and Cephas in there with Tim Jones and Elijah Cooks as guys fighting for that last spot, potentially 2 last spots, in the Jaguars rotation. He looked really smooth throughout the offseason. He's not the biggest guy, but again, really good hands, good routes. So it'll be interesting to see how him and Cephas look over the next couple of weeks.
All right, John, tell us about Jaguars on SI. We know you got the podcast with Gus Logue. It's been once a week the entire offseason. I know you guys are about to fire it up to twice a week. Where can people find the podcast, and what can they look forward to when they head on over to the website?
Yeah, you can find us, at the Jaguars on SI podcast on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, www.si.com/NFL/Jaguars. We'll be, live at every training camp practice. We're ramping up tomorrow. I'll have some more preview stuff before then. My full thoughts on the Tyson Campbell deal, some under-the-radar guys I think have pushed for roster spots, and some guys who might be on the roster bubble.
He's one of our favorites, John Shipley, Jaguars on SI. John, I know you're busy. Really appreciate the time. I'll see you down at the Miller Electric Center for camp this week.
I appreciate you, my friend.
1010XL takes you inside the program director's office with Dan and Jeff.
Let's talk about me.
Mornings.
Listen, I really think you have a chance here. The best thing you have going for you is your willingness to humiliate yourself.
On 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Jags fans, the Jaguars are back at the Miller Electric Center for training camp.
Presented by Dreamfinder. You won't want to miss out. Stop by to get the first look at Trevor Lawrence and the team as they prepare for the 2024 season. To check out camp dates and secure your tickets, go to Jaguars.com/training camp. Daily availability is limited, so lock in your tickets today.
How good is that?
Bueller Aaron Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's challenger, a paint color namer from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Irving Stapler.
Hi, Howie.
So the next round is word association. I'll say a word and you give me the first word you think of. Engagement ring.
Jeweler.
Gas station.
Fueler.
Aaron Burr.
Dueler.
Air conditioning.
Wow. Jeez. It's a toughie.
Come on, Irv. The sponsor's going to kill me now.
Oh, Bueller.
That's right, Irv. If your AC is struggling through the summer heat, the first name you should think of for fast, friendly, 5-star service is Bueller Air and Plumbing. The name to know to make sure you are cool.
Have a beer, Irv.
Cooler.
Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
How far is it from the surface of the earth to the core of the earth?
Is your home your most valuable asset? It is for most of us, and Southern Oak Insurance recommends an annual review. Log on to southernoak.com for more information.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
From the surface to the core of the earth is about 1,800 miles and has a temperature of over 9,000 degrees, hotter than the sun.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hello, sports fans. Hicken here. Let's talk skin. I Am Beaches Dermatology are reminding you to wear your sunscreen. If you're an active parent hanging at the fields, in your boat to fish, or like to chill at the sandbar, wear sunscreen. But if you're the one that decided for years it's not cool, guess what? Cancer isn't cool either. So when grabbing the clubs for your tea time, gassing up the boat, or grabbing the chairs for your kids' games, make sure you bring the screen. Any concerns now? Give Beaches Dermatology a call online at beachesdermatology.com.
Imagine driving a late model Corvette, BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, Honda, Chevy, Ford, and more, all at a fraction of the original sticker price. Visit Vaughn Motor Group's indoor showroom and browse a great selection of dream cars that are inspected with warranties. Before you make your next auto purchase, check out Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard or at vaughnmotorgroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
Calling all disc golf enthusiasts. Play It Again Sports Jacksonville wants your used discs. Now through June 29th, earn cash on the spot plus $5 in sports bucks for every $25 of disc golf gear we buy. Play It Again Sports also stocks new discs from your favorite brands like Innova, Discraft, Discmania, and more. Stop in today and shop our huge selection. Merrill Road near 295 in the Merrill Station Shopping Plaza or online at playitagainjacks.com.
Soccer fans, don't miss your chance to see teams from the English Premier League compete in the Stateside Cup right here in Jacksonville. Competition will be fierce when Wolves and West Ham United take the pitch under the lights at Everbank Stadium July 27th. It's Premier Soccer at a premier venue for one night only. Tickets are going fast. Buy yours today at statesidecup.com.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
One hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night here on Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. A reminder, I assume most of you know this, but in the event you do not, it's always good to get a reminder every once in a while that you can stream the show every night, and you can stream every show here on 1010XL, courtesy of the MyBookie Digital Network. All you got to do is basically go to any social media platform, Facebook, Twitter/X, YouTube. The show is right there. For your viewing pleasure, just search 1010XL, and the MyBookie Digital Network is right there for you. Again, beginning at 6 a.m. with the drill, all the way up through Hacker After Dark here from 8 o'clock until 10 o'clock. Jaguars back on the practice field tomorrow. We'll do more Jaguar talk coming up here in the 9 o'clock hour. I did want to get into a couple of things. Number one, our AFC South preview continues. We're going to go up to Indianapolis here in about 30 minutes or so. James Boyd of The Athletic, he's our guy up in Indy when it comes to the Colts. We've already made stops this week in Nashville and in Houston. Tonight we go to Indianapolis, and that'll be the last out-of-market team we do. That'll be 31 out-of-market teams. We've talked to 31 different people in those 31 markets, and we certainly appreciate that dating back the last 2 months. We'll end with the Jaguars tomorrow night. But we'll talk about the Indianapolis Colts, about Anthony Richardson coming back from injury and what the expectations are for the Jaguars division rival. We'll go to Indy coming up here in about a half an hour. James Boyd of The Athletic. Coming up next, my buddy Matt Hayes. You hear him every day on XL Primetime. You read his terrific work at Saturday Down South. I want to talk about Florida, Billy Napier, and quite frankly, the lack of expectations for the Gators coming in. I want to talk about Florida State, not so much on the field activities yet. We have a month to do that. By the way, the Seminoles kick off 1 month from today against Georgia Tech in Dublin, Ireland. But I want to talk about what on earth is going on between Florida State and the Atlantic Coast Conference. Can there be a reconciliation, or are we past the point of no return? And where will Florida State be? What conference will they be in 24 months from now? We'll do a deep dive with Matt Hayes about that. We'll also get into the Jaguars. Matt was down there earlier today at training camp as well. So we're loaded in the 9 o'clock hour. James Boyd of The Athletic talking Indianapolis Colts. But first, my buddy Matt Hayes of XL Primetime on a Wednesday night in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark rolls on right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Tensions build.
3rd and 12. Let's go.
Plot thickens.
We got to get off the field.
Crowds roar. Tune in and let the show begin. Your home for live play-by-play is 1010XL.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
The 5-Star Veterans Center of Jacksonville is the place homeless veterans can go to recover, recharge, retrain, and reconnect. Learn more at 5starveteranscenter.org.
Her Song is a nonprofit organization that breaks the cycle of human trafficking through survivor care, victim outreach, and education. Find out how you can help at hersong.org.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010xl.com.
Attention homeowners, is it time to get your septic tank pumped out? Don't wait until it's too late. At Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic, our experienced technicians use the latest equipment to pump out your tank safely and efficiently, ensuring that your septic system is running smoothly. Neglecting your septic tank can lead to costly repairs and even health hazards. So call Duck Duck Rooter and schedule your septic tank pumping. Call now, 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1010XL breaks down training camp all day. Listen for camp news with analysis and insight from the practice feed.
Everything counts!
1010XL's training camp coverage is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing and Kingfish Pest Control.
This is Chelsea with Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. Here's what people are saying about working with us.
Installers were professional, courteous, and efficient.
Great customer service. On time, explained the process, and walked me through the installation. Amazing team.
Our experience with Renewal by Anderson was outstanding from the beginning to end.
Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com.
License number CGC 1527613.
Renewal by Anderson, custom windows and doors.
This is Hayes Carline here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish Revolution, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. And he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoor Show.
With tips and stories.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning.
Every Saturday morning, 7 to 10.
On 1010XL.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The latter stages of July already has SEC Media Days in the rearview mirror. The ACC kickoff going on this week up in Charlotte. And oh, by the way, the Jacksonville Jaguars have officially started training camp. It is a great time of year. Let's talk about all of it with my buddy Matt Hayes. You hear him every day on XL Primetime. You also read his terrific work. It's Saturday Down South, among many other outlets. And Matt's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Matt, how you doing?
Great, Hack. It's time for ball, baby.
There's no doubt about that. I want to touch on the Jaguars with you. I want to touch on Florida State with you, but you were out in Dallas last week for media days. Matt, we know there's not a lot of expectations for the Florida Gators coming into the year. I think you and I both knew that, reading Athlon, Wendy's, Phil Steele. Obviously, it's not breaking news, but the SEC media voted, and again, Florida picked, I think, 11th or 12th in the conference. What was the vibe out there in Dallas about Billy Napier and the Gators in 2024?
Much the same thing. A lot of, is he going to make it? Is he going to get fired? He's very confident. I can tell you that. There's no doubt about that. He feels good about the team. He feels good about the fact that, 97% of the players are his guys that he recruited, he chose. He feels really good about Graham Mertz as his quarterback. They've got some, what he believes are impact guys in the portal. I think if you're a Florida fan, you most absolutely should be hesitant because you've seen what it's been the last 2 years. And it's not just the fact that the talent isn't there. It's operationally, it's a mess. Offense, defense, special teams, everything has just been a mess for 2 years. So, and that's cost them at least 3 games. So I think if you're a Florida fan, you have a right to be skeptical, but he's very confident in where they're headed and what they're doing, and the fact that they can be very competitive this year. We'll see. I'm kind of going to be believe it when I see it kind of guy.
Well, look, we know how hard the schedule is. You and I have talked about that. Everybody's talked about it. But when I look at that schedule, to me, it's 2 schedules. There's the last 5 games, which are just completely ridiculous. I think all 5 of those teams are in the preseason top 15. The first 7 prior to the cocktail party, look, I think Tennessee is going to be a tough putt. Going to Knoxville, I think the Volunteer Navy and the Big Orange, they are going to be ready for the Gators after what happened last year in Gainesville. Outside of that trip to Knoxville, Matt, the other 6 are all winnable. Now, is Florida going to win all 6? I would tend to doubt that, but I don't think any of those first 6 you would say Florida has no shot of winning.
So, Hack, I'm going to say this about as lovingly as I can because I know I love you to death. And by the way, you look fantastic. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, buddy.
If you start talking about schedules, you are a losing program. You are a losing program. Who cares what your schedule is, honestly?
Yeah, but don't you think? I mean, it's been well documented. This might be the toughest schedule in the history of Florida football on paper.
Well, I don't know about that. That's number one. And number two, I go back to who cares? If you're confident in what you're doing and the players you have and the system you have and who you are, your initial response to someone saying you have a great tough schedule should be, wait, they got to play us. It doesn't matter that we have to go play whoever. They have to play us. And I don't think they're there right now, clearly. So I just see the schedule thing as like a cop-out. Look, it is what it is. Everybody at the end of the day has a tough schedule because you're in the best league in college football. So suck it up and see what you can do. The last thing I would be concerned about if I was Billy Napier would be the schedule. I would be more concerned about operationally when we step on that field, is it going to be different? Are we going to look like a football team that knows what it's doing, that knows where it should be on both sides of the ball and special teams? Are we going to actually line up right? Are we going to not have 2 guys wearing the same number? Just simple stuff like that. Are we going to understand what it means to spike the ball and set up a field goal? Operationally, Hack, it's been an absolute disaster. So for me, if I'm the president of Florida, who now Ben Sass is retiring and moving into teaching a little bit, so they're going to have another president. But if I'm whoever the president is, interim, or whoever's going to make the decision at the end of the year, I'm looking at it. Look, what does it look like? Is it still a mess, or can you see that? Can you see it's moving in the right direction? And if you're at the point where you don't want to pay $20-something million to make him go away, then you have the opportunity to say, all right, I think we're ascending. So I think even though we were 7-5 or whatever, 7-5, 6-6, 7-5, 8-4, whatever, I think we're ascending and we're moving in the right direction. So we're going to stick with him. That's his best hope. His best hope, Hack, is for it to look better. And honestly, I've been saying this over and over, and I still can't believe I'm saying this. That's where we are. That's how low the bar is at Florida football, where you just simply want a team that will get on the field and it looks like a smooth operation, as opposed to when, in the glory days with Spurrier and with Meyer, it was, if you lose one game, it's a tragedy. Now it's, all right, you can lose 6 games and the guy can still keep his job, or you can lose 5 games and the guy can still keep his job. It's the bar is significantly lowered right now for Florida football.
You hear Matt Hayes every day on XL Primetime. He's with us right now on Hacker After Dark. Final Florida topic. I agree with you. Operationally, it has to look better. With that being said, if it looks better and they're 5-7, is he in trouble?
Gotta go.
And so is it as simple as bowl game? Maybe he stays, don't go to a bowl game. He's probably gone regardless of how it looks.
I mean, heck, if he's 5-7, that makes him 16-21 in 3 years. You got to go. That's, at the end of the day, it's a results-oriented business. You got to win games. And, I've heard all about, it was a mess when he got there and there were problems in the locker room. Number one, every coach says that. Every coach says that. Number two, that's why the last guy got fired. At every program, the last guy gets fired because there's a mess in the locker room. There's a lot of stuff going on that needs to be fixed. Every coach gets fired for those reasons. So no matter where you go, no matter what program you walk into, that's what it's going to look like. So I just don't know that you can use that excuse. Plus, with the transfer portal nowadays, you can flip a roster in a year. You can go from being a disaster to, going 500 the first year and then winning 10 games in the second year, just like Lane Kiffin did at Ole Miss. He's now won 29 games in the last 3 seasons. That's how many more than Florida in the last 3 seasons, right? Think about that. So Florida's won 17 games in the last 3 seasons. Ole Miss has won 12 more games. Ole Miss, hack. Okay, so I think that's why I think when you start to lower the bar of expectations, then you start to say, well, 6-6 will be all right. I mean, if he beats, let's just say they upset LSU and they get to 6-6, that'll be all right. No, it's not all right. It's not. And Billy Napier knows that. He's a coach. He's a football coach. He knows that. He knows he's getting paid a lot of money to win games. You can't lose 6 games. You just can't.
Matt, there's no doubt you're one of the go-to guys when it comes to college football. You had some terrific stuff in the last couple of weeks on Florida State, not what's going on the field, but everything going on inside the conference. I mean, for Florida State fans that listen to you every day, for Florida State fans that are listening to us tonight, we'll get to the on-the-field product in a few weeks because they kick it off. They're one of the first games out of the gate. In fact, a month from today, they play Georgia Tech over there in Dublin. But what conference are they going to be in the next 12 to 24 months? I mean, it's wild, some of the stories that you hear with Florida State. And do they have to live in harmony in the ACC for the next couple of years? I mean, where are we with them right now?
So there's a lot of bad blood right now between the league and Florida State. It doesn't mean that they couldn't work it out, because I think they still can work it out. I think if cooler heads prevail and those guys just sit down, if the presidents of Florida State, North Carolina, Miami, and Clemson just sit down in a room with the league and say, all right, here's our proposal for revenue sharing. This is why we should get more. Okay? And if the ACC was smart, they could see, like, the worst case scenario, they're done. Worst case scenario, 5 or 6 teams leave and the ACC implodes, and then the Big Ten and the SEC start raiding them, okay? And then they're nothing. They're done. They are no longer a conference, all right? Then they're the Pac-12. So if you're smart and you realize this, you say, all right, we're going to do revenue sharing and to give you guys X percentage and give the other, I guess it would be what they have 17 teams now. The other 12 teams we're going to give X, okay? And then you say, all right, and here's where we are. This is what we're doing. And if any one of the other teams complains about it or doesn't like it or doesn't want to be part of it, then guess what? Go. There's the door. Go. You don't have to stay. We're not forcing you to stay. Go. And to me, right now the ACC is in survival mode. They have to survive. And if you're Florida State right now, it's very clear that the Big Ten and the SEC aren't going anywhere near Florida State unless the entire conference implodes, the ACC. And the ACC added Cal, Stanford, and SMU for the very specific reason that should 1 or 2 teams leave, they still have enough teams by contract for ESPN that ESPN has to continue to pay them. So Florida State is not in a good situation right now, okay? My guess would be their best bet would be to work something out with the ACC, because if you go to the Big 12, you're earning less in the Big 12. So that's what I would do. I would do my best to earn the most you can from the ACC And then in 3 or 4 years or 5 years, if we get down that road, then everything implodes, and all of a sudden it's just like a super division with, 40 teams, and it's like the NFL, more closer to the NFL. Then you're okay. But to just leave without a plan, which it now clearly is what they're doing. They've clearly left without a plan, or trying to leave without a plan. That's a dangerous plan.
I mean, at the very basic entry level, thoughts on this, because again, you're immersed in this. This is what you do every day, and you do a terrific job. But for people listening, is it as simple as you talk about revenue sharing? Florida and Georgia are making a ton more money than Florida State. They feel like they can't compete because the conference they're in is not supporting them like the SEC.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, they're getting, they're getting $40 million, average about $40 million a season. And, beginning this year, Florida and Georgia will be getting 70, 75, 80. And that contract increases for them over the next 3 to 4 to 5 years, the new SEC deal. So they're getting almost half what Florida, Georgia, and it's not just Florida and Georgia. They recruit against Alabama too. They recruit against LSU. They recruit against that entire deep South, Auburn. So they are at a disadvantage. I completely understand and agree with their issue. Totally agree with it. I 100% disagree the way they're going about doing it. I would have sat down and just said, look, with the ACC, and maybe they did, and the ACC didn't care, but now the ACC realizes the gravity of it. But I would have sat down with the ACC and said, look, either we do revenue sharing with you, where you give us and Clemson and North Carolina and Miami, wherever you think deserves more. That's the 4 main teams. All right. I mean, I get it. The SEC is interested in Virginia just because it's a new state, a new territory. But Virginia does not demand the television numbers that those other 4 do. So I would just, they should have sat down and said, unless you give us revenue sharing, we're going to make it so bad for this league. We're going to drag you through court that it's going. And if we get out and a couple others follow, you're out. You're done. I don't know. They may have done that, and the ACC may not have understood what they were doing. But now, Hack, we are at the point now where it's very clear where this thing is headed. The ACC is not letting them out, and I think the more that FSU pushes and tries to get, the contract with ESPN, and they're trying to embarrass the league, and they're trying to embarrass former Commissioner John Swafford. At this point, if you're the ACC, I'm not mitigating anything. You're paying me the full $572 million to leave if you can't break the grant of rights. And that's the key. If they don't win in court, they're going to owe them the full thing, because the ACC at this point is not going to mitigate anything. So again, it goes back to, I think ideally I understand what Florida State did and why they did it. And I just think the execution of it was really poor. And on top of everything, to not have a place to just leave and say, well, someone will give us a spot. That's insanity is what it is.
Quickly, because I want to end with the Jaguars. The Big Ten and the SEC, you said earlier, they're not going to go near Florida State unless the ACC implodes. Why is there not an appeal for the Big Ten or the SEC with Florida State?
I don't think that it's not an appeal. I think at their core, the presidents of both of those conferences, and I know we are in this idea, in this age of, oh my gosh, all they care about is money. They want college football how it is now. They wanted it with the Pac-12, but the Big Ten felt like it had to make a move because the SEC added Texas and Oklahoma. So the Big Ten, to stay at that level, added USC and UCLA just by doing it, just to make that move. And then a little bit later down the road, they realized, all right, what are we going to do with these guys as far as travel? So then they had to add 2 more. I was like, if for no other reason as travel partners. And then you get lucky and you add Oregon and Washington, two very hot teams right now. So that's how that came about. The SEC doesn't want to add just to add, Hack. They don't want to share their pie. And if ESPN's not going to give them more money per school, they're not going to do it. And I can guarantee you ESPN's not going to give the SEC money for FSU. After FSU implodes the ACC, there's no chance of that happening. Wow. So, and here's another thing, too, with Florida State is, Oregon's TV numbers are as good as Florida State's. Oregon right now is getting 50 cents on the dollar right now by the Big Ten for the next, I believe, 3 years, 4 years. So, again, Florida State is making this assumption that when they leave, they're not only going to be wanted, but they're going to be wanted and given full share by wherever they go. It's, again, I look at that and I think, I don't know who's making those decisions. or who talked them into that, or who made them believe that if they leave, they're going to be this team that everybody wants and they're going to get a full share and everything will be hunky-dory. And it's just not the case. It's not.
It's a wild scenario. There's no doubt about that. Matt Hayes here with us. Matt, final question. You were down at Jaguar training camp earlier today as it opened up at the Miller Electric Center. Your thoughts? A crazy offseason, right? I mean, the re-signing of Lawrence and Campbell and Hines Allen, Oluwakin, the stadium deal gets passed. I've called it maybe the most consequential offseason in the history of the franchise. What have your thoughts been on the last 5 or 6 months? Yeah,
agree. I mean, you got to pay Lawrence. I'm iffy on Tyson Campbell. I think Tyson Campbell, when healthy, can be a good player. But he's probably given them, 10, 12 really strong games as a player in 3 years, and you make him one of the highest paid corners in the league. That's a gamble. There's no doubt that's a gamble. I think he's going to be a good player, but, we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of guys that look good out there, man. I'll tell you what, Devin Lloyd is a big dude, and I don't know why they don't move him to the edge hack and just say, get the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're watching him in 7-on-7 out there, and he's still, I think, lost in zone coverage. He's just that's not who he is. It's what he wasn't in college. It was, hey, Devin, go disrupt the quarterback. That's what he did. It's what he did best. And I don't know why they're not doing that right now. It's odd. It's very, very odd. But the receivers look good. Brian Thomas looks good. It's early. It's day one, but it's good that it's back, man. That's the best part of all.
There's no doubt about that. Like you said, football is back, college football a month from today, and we have a preseason NFL game a week from tomorrow, which is wild. The Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. You hear Matt Hayes every day on XL Primetime. You read his terrific stuff as well over there at SaturdayDownSouth.com. Matt, thank you, man. I know you're busy. We appreciate it. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Sure, Hack. Anytime.
The Men in Black and Team.
Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games.
1010XL.
Oh, man, it feels great.
Home of the Jaguars.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell her 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and summer's in full swing, and air conditioners are fully stressed. But do what I did. Call the good folks at Fenwick Home Services to stay cool and comfortable all season long. Need a new AC system? Fenwick has free same-day estimates and next-day installations. And your new system is backed by a warranty of up to 12 years. That's right, 12 years. Fenwick also offers same-day, 24/7 service, day or night, and their expert technicians will get the job done and get it done right the first time. Book online now at FenwickHomeservices.com.
Pross, I'm thinking about changing my name.
Again? You're already the media mogul, the straw that stirs the drink, the Duke of Pablo Bay. Now what?
Refer to me as Dreamfinders Danny Hicken.
What in the blazes? Is this a cash grab?
No, it's just that I believe so much in Dreamfinders Homes. 20 locations in Northeast Florida, official home builder of Jags and Gators. Great opportunity for first-time homeowners.
All right. Dreamfinders Danny it is.
Did I mention the lowest interest rates you can find? Visit DreamfindersHomes.com. Now let Dreamfinders Danny celebrate through the majesty of song. Dreamfinders, I believe they will build your home just right.
See the world through the eyes of a linebacker.
I tell it like I see it, and I see it like a middle linebacker.
Tom McManus joins Jaguars Today every Friday morning.
Period.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Hicken here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and it is hot out there. You know that, Greg. But Honda has a plan for you on or off the road.
They do. There's a ton of Honda scooters, Honda mini motos, great for the beach. Also get you out in the woods with a Honda side-by-side. Plenty to do and stay cool.
Yeah, four-wheelers, and you can trick them out.
We can. From stereo systems to big builds, we do it all.
Everything's there for you to see. CyclesofJacksonville.com online or on Atlantic near Regency. Check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
The coolest thing going on right now is the summer fan sale with 3 ways to save at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Browse their huge selection of high-quality fans to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Buy 1 fan, save 10%. Buy 2, save 15%. Buy 3 or more and save 20% off summer pricing on all fans. Visit their showroom near the avenues while inventory is still available and discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The last 2 months, we have been all over the National Football League, previewing every NFL division. This week, we end it on the home front in the AFC South. Of course, we will go to Indianapolis. We will go to Tennessee. We will certainly go to Houston, obviously right here in Jacksonville. But we'll kick it off tonight with Anthony Richardson and the Colts. Year 2 for AR. We'll see how he does. Can he stay healthy? And where does Indianapolis fit in to this division in 2024? My guy up in Indianapolis is James Boyd. He does a terrific job covering the Colts for The Athletic, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. James, I trust your offseason went well, man. How are you?
It's been pretty good. Obviously, no trade demands from Jonathan Taylor, no CBA reading from me, so it's been very good.
Yeah, look, it was an interesting offseason in that the Colts didn't bring a lot of outside free agents in, but they kept their own. And I want to certainly get into that. I want to talk about Anthony Richardson as well, but I want to begin with Shane Steichen. D'Amico Ryans got all the love nationally for what he did year 1 in Houston, and with good reason. He was very good. I'm taking nothing away from him. Shane Steichen lost his top 5 rookie quarterback the first month of the season and still won 9 games and had the Colts an eyelash away from winning the division. Do you think Steichen got enough credit for what he did last year?
I think that he did. I know that some of the fan base here might feel differently, but I think he got enough credit for it. I think that last game, obviously, if you win that game, you get into the playoffs, it changes things for you. But as far as locker room goes, the guys love him. They respect him. I think he is one of the best play callers in the league, not only because of the designs, but because of how he fits the plays and the schemes around the players he has, regardless of who they are. Because as you said, Ryan, when Anthony Richardson went down, I certainly did not expect them to have such a potent offense even without him. Now, there were still some struggles there. They struggled to push the ball down the field and things like that. But overall, it looked like a pretty competent offense, and I have to give him a lot of credit for that.
James Boyd of The Athletic covering the Indianapolis Colts as our AFC South preview continues tonight here on 1010XL. All right, Anthony Richardson. James, we saw this at Florida. There were injury problems with Anthony Richardson. We talked about it, you and I, last offseason. He goes up to Indy, had great moments in the first month of the year, but he was injuries affected him, and then obviously that game in Houston essentially ended the rest of his season. What is the thought on Anthony Richardson moving forward, and how healthy has he looked?
So it was actually the game against the Titans in Week 5. He had a design run, I believe, took it up to the outside, had a routine tackle, and just messed up his shoulder. Out for the rest of the year after that. And so he looks good now. I know the recovery was obviously pretty significant. The time on task had to be pretty meticulous just because he did have major shoulder surgery for his AC joint. And he looks good. He looked good throughout the spring. You could not tell that he was ever hurt up until the last couple of days of veteran minicamp. And on the second to last day, there was some soreness in his shoulder. He didn't really complete a full workload. And then the last day of veteran minicamp, he didn't throw it all. But while everyone in Indianapolis is sounding an alarm, he was like, hey, it is precautionary. If I had to play Sunday, I would have been practicing, would have been playing, nothing to worry about. And I guess to sort of confirm that, his agent posted while he was visiting the Nike campus in LeBron court on the Nike campus, Anthony Richardson went up and reverse dunked it like LeBron. And I was like, well, his shoulder looks pretty good in that video. So obviously he's in good spirits. But now for me, Ryan, I think going forward is just how do you monitor or manage any type of soreness in his shoulder? Is it something that'll go away permanently, or is it something they have to manage going forward just because of the major shoulder surgery he had? So I'm curious to see, because right now, if you tell me, hey, I'm taking it easy, I'm taking a rest day, I'm not going to really panic. But if you're taking rest days and missing camp days and you're missing, time to practice in the fall, then I have to start asking some harder questions.
From what we saw, James, from Anthony Richardson last year, again, it was like 150 some odd snaps that he took. There were some very good moments, no question about it. Did we see enough? Did you see enough as a guy that covers that team every day to say, all right, they're in very good hands in 2024? Was it enough of a sample size?
I don't think so. I know that might get me booed or stoned in Indianapolis, but I think that it's just such a small sample size. Now, don't get me wrong. It was a very good sample size. It's very promising. I think that there's a lot of talent there, and he can be a special player, but I have to see more of it. I have to see a lot more of it, quite frankly, to say he's definitively the guy for them. And I think a big part of it, Ryan, just being plain and honest, is can he stay healthy for more than, 4 or 5 games? That's the biggest thing with him. Dating back to high school, his senior year in high school, he got hurt. Obviously at Florida, he got hurt. His first year in the NFL, he got hurt. And I'm not saying that he can't hold up, but at some point, you do have to try to put that to bed and put that narrative to bed. And I think if he plays, 14 and up games throughout this season, he will have confidently kind of put that to bed. Now, if you go out here and get hurt again, we have to evaluate that. That's part of your evaluation, your ability to stay on the field.
James Boyd of The Athletic covering the Indianapolis Colts. They brought in insurance and Joe Flacco. We know Gardner Minshew departed for Las Vegas. How big a signing was that to bring in Flacco in the event something happens to Anthony Richardson?
I think that was huge. I was on board with them trying to bring back Gardner Minshew for a deal, but obviously he got paid handsomely to go over to the Raiders. I believe it's 2 years, $25 million, $15 million guaranteed. And obviously the Colts aren't going to pay a backup quarterback that amount. Not many teams in the NFL ever would do that. And so he has a chance to go compete for a starting job over in Las Vegas. And whereas the Colts basically pick up Joe Flacco, who had this renaissance last year with the Cleveland Browns. And I think the difference is between the two is that Joe Flacco can push it down the field more than Gardner Minshew can. Even at 39 years old, I believe that Joe Flacco still has some arm in him, enough rope in him to throw it deep and keep the defense honest in ways that Gardner Minshew couldn't last year. So obviously here in Indianapolis, nobody wants to see him on the field. But if he does have to step in, I mean, he's a former Super Bowl champ. He's been through every single scenario in the NFL. He's also had a ton of different roles. So I think that he is very, experienced and still very good in moments. Now, I wouldn't want to rely on him for an entire season, but obviously he's proven that he can hold his own if you throw him in there and throw him in the fire.
Yeah, we know all about Joe Flacco here in Jacksonville. He tore the Jaguars apart in a game in December up there in Cleveland last year. All right, the skill position. It starts with Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman Jr. As you mentioned, no contract issues with Jonathan Taylor, and Michael Pittman Jr. gets re-signed as well. Obviously, the two vital parts of that Colts offense.
Absolutely. I think that the biggest thing is that JT is healthy this year going into the season. New contract kicks in. There's nothing to be upset about. And so obviously he's a big factor because people sort of forget, in addition to Anthony Richardson missing, a ton of time last year, JT missed, I believe, 7 games last year with ankle and thumb injuries. And so he's kind of been banged up the last couple of years. So is this a year where he can be healthy and kind of have it all come together again for him? Because I mean, it's hard to believe, but he's a former rushing champ, 2 or 3 years removed at this point, and he's only 25. So he still has some game left, and I think that he still is, when he's healthy, one of the best running backs in the league. So he's going to be a huge factor to their offense, and not only as a runner, but also as a check down and a passing option as well. And then Michael Pittman Jr., he re-signed a bit earlier than I expected, Ryan. I thought that if he waited a while throughout the offseason, he could have got a bit more money than the 3 years, $70 million extension he got. Because now, after he signed it, there were a few wide receivers that leapfrogged him in annual play. And obviously, some of them I believe are better, just quite frankly, like Devontae Smith, re-signed A.J. Brown, obviously got an extension and things like that. But Nico Collins, is now the highest paid receiver, I believe, annually in the AFC South. And so, we asked Michael Pittman Jr. about it. He said, hey, I'm happy to get the money that I got. I'm motivated. And now he said he wants to go out and prove that he's one of the best receivers in the league. So we'll see. But obviously it won't just fall on those two guys or other guys that have to step up for this team to have a really good season.
When I talk to people about the Colts, James, they love Jonathan Taylor. They love Michael Pittman Jr. But the question always goes, do they have enough after that? Well, you cover that team as close as anybody, man. Do they have enough at the skill positions after Pittman Jr. and after Jonathan Taylor?
I think they have enough at wide receiver, potentially, because they obviously have Josh Downs, who had a historic rookie year last year with the Colts, caught the most passes ever by a rookie in franchise history. And then you add A.D. Mitchell to the mix from Texas and Georgia previously before that. And A.D. Mitchell's dynamic, man. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, excited to see him in a real NFL setting, because throughout the spring, he had a catch pretty much every day, Ryan, where you're like, oh, wow, that dude's a player. And so that's exciting. That's enticing for this offense. And he is, and one of those other super dynamic athletes, fast, strong, 6'3", 6'2", pretty big build as well. So he's got some girth to him. And then obviously, Alec Pierce, who's still hanging out on the outside as well, didn't have a great season last year. He's been their deep threat. But I wonder, okay, if you have Anthony Richardson back in the lineup, does that make an Alec Pierce more dynamic and more explosive, more dangerous for a defense to have to cover? But as far as the running back position goes, it's a little bit wide open after JT. There's Trey Sermon, the former third-round pick, who throughout his career hasn't really, had a ton of success. And then they have Evan Hull, whose rookie year was last year, was cut short because of an MCL tear. He only appeared in 1 game. And then you have Tyler Goodson, who everyone remembers in Indianapolis, had the drop at the end of, the Houston Texans game, which kind of, had the city heartbroken. So there isn't a lot of experience behind him, JT at that running back spot. So we'll see. But to me, the wild card, Ryan, is the tight end spot. And if Jelani Woods, who missed all of last year with hamstring injuries, if he can come back and if he can be a special player and the player they drafted him to be a couple of years ago, he could really change the offense, because physically he has all the tools. It's just like Anthony Richardson. Can you stay healthy enough so that we can actually see them come to fruition?
Final moments with James Boyd of The Athletic, covering the Indianapolis Colts as our AFC South preview continues. All right, James, defensively, Grover Stewart comes back. That's huge. Kenny Moore re-signs. The Colts brought back a lot of their guys. I know they added some pieces in the draft to that defense. How is that side of the ball shaping up as we enter training camp?
I think Laiatu Latu was a great add for them. Obviously, he had the neck injury issues before throughout his career. Did miss football for a couple of years, but we asked Chris Ballard about it, the Colts GM, and he said, hey, we checked his medicals. We feel very confident that he can be healthy, not only in the short term, but the long term. And he was dominant at UCLA. If it wasn't for the neck injury, I think he would have been a top 10 pick. That's how good he is. He's a technician. I think that he's going to be a 10-sack guy, right from the jump as a rookie, because he's that special. He's that gifted as a pass rusher. But then beyond that, you talked about bringing back some of those veterans, but there still are some significant holes, I think, within this defense, particularly on the back end. When you look at free safety, they don't really have one. You have Julian Blackman at strong safety. He's coming off one of the best years of his career. But at free safety, you have Nick Cross and Rodney Thomas II competing for those spots. I don't really know who's better, today, and I don't really know if either is the long-term answer at free safety. Nick Cross ideally would be the guy. He is the person that you drafted, with a third-round pick a couple of years ago, and then Rodney Thomas was a seventh-round pick who, for a little while, outplayed where he was positioned, but had a really rough, regression in his sophomore year last year. So that position's up for grabs, and I'm wondering, with Quandre Diggs and Justin Simmons still out there, would the Colts pull the trigger, throughout training camp to bring a veteran in? I think it'd be wise for them to do so. And then cornerback, that's another position where I'm like, I don't know, man, because the only proven veteran on the roster is Kenny Moore II. I think Juju Brents, the second-round pick from last year, showed some promise. He was kind of banged up throughout his rookie year. This year, if he can stay healthy, he should have a starting job. And then that third starting job on the outside is kind of wide open. I don't know who it could be. It could be Jalen Jones, the seventh-round pick from last year, who took the majority of the first-team reps out the spring. But again, they're kind of betting on a lot of inexperience in that secondary. And I think inexperience in the NFL usually leads to incompetency and leads to mistakes and leads to teams picking on you. So we will see, because I can tell you right now, Trevor Lawrence, as you know, down there in Jacksonville, he's not going to shy away from any matchup that's favorable to him. So I'm thinking, hey, if you got some weak links in the secondary, he's going to, make sure he exploits them, and other quarterbacks do the same. So that is a weakness for the Colts for sure. And right now, Chris Ballard has said, hey, we're betting on our youth. I believe in our guys. And that sounds great on paper, but in reality, that might not be the best move.
James, as we begin to wrap up, to that point, the AFC South this offseason, the Titans spent $1 billion in free agency. Jacksonville had a complete roster turnover. I think probably 40% of our roster will be new when the final 53-man roster comes out in late August. And Houston probably won the offseason by most indications with Danielle Hunter, Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, obviously, to go on. And yet Indianapolis stayed pat. They re-signed a lot of their guys. They didn't bring in a lot of outside free agents. A, what was the reaction of the fan base to what the other teams in the division did? And B, how do you see the Colts stacking up in the South entering the year?
I think the fan base was, on one hand, like, hey, dang, we didn't do enough. Look at what Houston is doing. They're spending all this money. They're getting all these guys. And I had it confirmed through a league source, but they did pursue Danielle Hunter. They just didn't. They weren't able to land him, obviously, so they went ahead and drafted a defensive end and an edge rusher instead in Laiatu Latu. But on the other hand, they're like, hey, we're right there. We're ahead of the Jaguars. We don't have to worry about the Titans. And I'm like, wait a second. You might have to worry about both of those teams, because the Titans, they've given, in theory, they've given Will Levis enough to evaluate if he is the guy. They'll find out this season. Can this guy be our franchise quarterback? And then with Jacksonville, I know there's been a lot of turnover, but to me, as long as you have a borderline top 10 or top 7-ish quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, you have a chance. And so I know he's hungry to prove that, hey, I'm more than what I was last year, and I'm still improving as a former number one pick in the NFL draft. So I don't think that the Colts fans are very wise to overlook Jacksonville either. And so I'm excited about it. I think the division sort of stacks up on paper as Houston and then the Colts, just because of how last year went, and obviously this offseason, those two duking out at the top. I would give Houston the edge right now on paper, and then obviously I think that Jacksonville's right in the mix, could continue, to push for a division title like they always have. As much as I, want to say the Colts are so much better or whatever, they still haven't beat Jacksonville in Houston. I mean, not in Houston, in Jacksonville, and forever long, it seems like. So got to figure that out, obviously. And then I would still put the Titans at the bottom of the totem pole, just because even though all the money they spend, they have to show me their quarterback is a guy, because in this league, Ryan, we know quarterbacks, matter, especially if you're trying to win big. I'm not saying it's everything. There's teams, out there that usually have an identity outside of that, like, Pittsburgh, for example, they usually don't, it doesn't matter who their quarterback is, they're going to win 8 or 9 games every year. But in this division, I think that quarterback play will be very, very key. And I'm looking at the quarterbacks in this division, and the best ones to me, C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence right now, and it's about can these other younger players kind of step up and see what they can do. So I'm excited. Should be a great season. And, it's the NFL, Ryan. We could talk about all this stuff months in advance, and everything goes sideways, come the fall, and we're like, what the heck? Do we know anything? So it'll be fun to figure out how right or wrong we are.
Yeah, no question. And that streak you mentioned, one of the weirdest ones in the league. The Colts haven't won a game in Duval County since 2014, and they've been here every year save one where the game was in London. So we'll see if Indianapolis can finally buck what is becoming a very long winless streak here against Jacksonville. James Boyd is our guy up in Indianapolis. He does a great job covering the Colts for The Athletic. James, we're on the doorstep of training camp, man. Thank you as always, and you and I will certainly be talking during the year when the Colts and the Jaguars get together.
Hit me up anytime. Thanks for having me.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
And thank you to James Boyd of The Athletic for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark, covering the Indianapolis Colts as our AFC South preview continues. And with James Boyd of Indianapolis, that's 31 teams that we've went across the National Football League, 31 different markets over the last 2 months. We will end tomorrow night with my buddy Leon Searcy here talking about the Jaguars. But I love doing our division previews as we lead into camp. Camp is open all over the National Football League, and that's really what we talked about tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Again, the Jaguars reported to camp earlier this week. Yesterday, they were on the field today for practice number 1. They will be back out at the Miller Electric Center tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday as we really begin to dive into camp. And it's hard to believe we have a preseason football game. The Hall of Fame game is 1 week from tomorrow night. Absolutely wild. The Jaguars play their first preseason game in 17 days on Saturday night, August the 10th. Well, that'll just about do it. It has been a very, very busy Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, James Boyd of The Athletic covering the Indianapolis Colts, as Anthony Richardson and the Colts coming off a 9-8 season without Anthony Richardson. How will the Colts do with a healthy Anthony Richardson? That is yet to be seen, but I like Indy. I like that roster. I think they're going to be a good football team again in 2024. Thank you to my buddy Matt Hayes. You read his terrific work at Saturday Down South. Of course, you hear Matt every day, 2 to 4, right here on 1010XL on XL Primetime, as we talked Florida State, and, of course, a little bit about Jaguar training camp. Thank you to John Shipley of the Jaguars on SI. Always enjoy talking ball with John Shipley. It was good to see him out there this morning at the Miller Electric Center for Jaguar training camp. And Darnell Savage, one of the new Jaguar defensive backs. Appreciate the Jaguars PR staff for getting us Darnell Savage here on Hacker After Dark today, and really enjoyed that conversation. If you missed it, you can check it out all over the 1010XL MyBookie digital platform, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. In fact, at Jaguars or at 1010XL Jaguars on YouTube, 1010XL Jaguars is where you can see all of our Jaguar interviews and our Jaguar content as training camp gets underway. We will be back tomorrow night on a Thursday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Wednesday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Thursday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
It's time to fire up your grill, shoot off some fireworks, and launch one of the biggest sales in the history of the United States.